Compost is superb as a soil-improving amendment, top dressing, and mulch. Finished compost can be used anywhere in the garden. To maximize its benefits, use finished compost within a few months. Like well-aged manure, though, even the oldest compost still improves soil. Gardeners rarely have enough compost. Ideally, all beds, vegetable, perennial, shrub, even lawns and trees, should get an inch of compost every year. An inch is enough to provide fresh cultures of soil organisms and to maintain soil that's already in good shape. If you're trying to correct physical problems, such as poor drainage or structure, or if your soil is very low in organic matter, you need to use even more. In warm, humid climates where organic matter breaks down very rapidly, try for 2 inches. If you don't have enough compost to go around, concentrate on trouble spots. Soil that has poor structure or drainage, or is lacking in nutrients, and hot spots where disease or pests are a problem. You can get away with half as much if you use green manures or maintain a constant cover of organic mulch. Add a handful of finished compost to the bottom of each hole when transplanting small seedlings. Add a shovelful for larger plants and heavy feeders such as tomatoes, melons, and squash. Sprinkle finished compost into rows when planting seeds. For use in potting soil, or to spread as a top dress on lawns in spring or fall, screen finished compost to remove large pieces. For most uses, a half-inch mesh is fine enough. Staple hardware cloth to a frame of a 2x2 or 2x4 wood. If you add legs on one side of a large screen, you can toss shovelfuls against the screen to sift, either onto the ground or into a garden cart. Or you can size the frame to lay across the top of the cart or plastic garbage can so the finished compost falls into the container. You can spread unfinished compost over the garden in fall. It will finish breaking down by spring and may be left on the surface or tilled under. Avoid spreading unfinished compost around vegetables and flowers as a top dressing, though. To use it as mulch on annual flowers or vegetables, spread a layer of finished compost underneath. You can use unfinished compost alone as a mulch for shrubs and trees. Finished screened compost is an excellent ingredient in soil mixes for houseplants and even for starting seedlings. You don't have to sterilize it. Unsterilized compost contains organisms that suppress ever-present damping off fungi. Compost can be used as a foliar fertilizer in the form of compost tea. This liquid form of compost can be sprayed on or poured over leaves or used to water houseplants. Compost tea is great for giving plants a nutrient boost and controlling some diseases. You can solve most composting problems simply by just waiting. Most material will break down eventually without any effort on your part. If you don't want to wait a year or more for nature to take its course, follow the remedies below. Symptom: the pile doesn't heat up and feels dry. The cause: it is too dry. The remedy: add water until the materials in the center feel evenly moist. In dry climates, cover pile with tarp and water whenever it dries out. The pile doesn't heat up or heats up only in the center but feels moist. The cause: it's not large enough. Make sure your pile is 3 feet square and at least 4 feet tall when you start, or wait for the pile to undergo cold composting. Large pile doesn't heat up but feels moist. Cause: not enough nitrogen. Add some alfalfa meal, manure, grass clippings, or other nitrogen protein source in as you turn the pile. Pile cools off before most of the material is decomposed. Cause: needs to be turned. Turn the pile with a Gordon fork, mixing the material in the center with the outer or undecomposed material. The pile smells bad, feels soggy or wet. The cause? It's too wet. Add shredded newspaper, straw, or other dry, carbon-rich material in as you turn the pile again. In wet climates, make sure you cover the pile to keep off rain. The pile smells bad, like ammonia, and feels moist, but not soggy. Cause? Too much nitrogen or not enough air. Add shredded newspaper, straw, or other carbon-rich materials, plus water to dampen it, and then turn the pile to aerate. Use less nitrogen-rich material in future piles and turn more often. All the material doesn't break down. Cause? Too dry or not enough nitrogen. For compost material that is too dry, add water until the materials in the center feel evenly moist. In dry climates, cover the pile with tarp and water whenever it dries out. For compost needing nitrogen, add alfalfa meal, manure, fresh grass clippings, or other nitrogen protein source and turn the pile. Matted layers don't break down. Needs mixing. Turn the pile, breaking up the matted layer and mixing it with other materials. Some pieces didn't break down. Pieces too large, too woody, or not biodegradable. Sift compost. In the future, leave out whatever didn't break down or chop into smaller pieces and add more nitrogen-rich material.
Lift it up and then do your things.
Did you know a Midwestern study compared compost with stockpiled feedlot manure? Test plots using only compost produced yields similar to those fertilized with 4 times the volume of manure. The compost raised pH and levels of organic matter, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium more than could be accounted for by the nutrient content of the compost. The study concluded that the compost must increase the availability of existing soil nutrients while also supplying small additional amounts.